All right, it's 5:15. We got out of our executive session and no action will be taken. And we'll go to our regular meeting at this time. And because I won't be able to say Chief Reinfeld for very much longer in the public, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir? Thank you, Chief Reinfeld. Roll call is Councilmember Navarro Gomez on, so we have everybody. Oh, great, that's perfect. We're going to do the first thing we're going to do is the swearing in of our new police chief. Where's Mr. Johnson at? Oh, come on up and stand there for a second. So I'll be down in a second, but Rick Johnson comes to the city of Wenatchee as an experienced and dedicated leader to the public safety. In his 24 years of law enforcement experience, Rick has served as an officer for Toppenish Police Department. I'd like you to turn around and face the public, please. For the Wenatchee PD, Chief of Patrol at Chelan County Sheriff's Office, and for the last 5 years as Chief of East Wenatchee Police Department. Chief Johnson is currently on the executive board of the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. He led the Wenatchee Police Department to become the second accredited law enforcement agency in the Valley. And he obviously lives in our Valley. And I saw Mayor Crawford, and thank you for being here. So hang on just a second, and we're going to swear you in. I think it'd be appropriate we kind of stand here. Okay, good. You got your glasses. Is your legal name Richard?
It is.
Okay, I think I will go with that. I, Richard Johnson, do solemnly swear to support,
I, Richard Johnson, do solemnly swear to support,
obey, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States
obey, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Washington,
that I will uphold and enforce the ordinances of the City of Wenatchee
that I will uphold and enforce the ordinances of the City of Wenatchee
and applicable ordinances of Chelan County,
and applicable ordinances of Chelan County,
that I will abide by the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics,
and that I will abide by the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics,
that I will, to the best of my ability,
that I will, to the best of my ability,
diligently and impartially perform all the duties of the Chief of the City of Wenatchee,
diligently and impartially perform all of the duties of Chief for the City of Wenatchee,
Chelan County, Washington.
Chelan County, Washington.
So now I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I would like, I think it's important that the Code of Ethics, I don't know if everybody knows about it. I'm sure anybody that's ever been an officer, but I think it's good I'm going to ask you to read the Code of Ethics to everybody in the public. Then after that, then your family members or whoever you want to introduce. Okay, I can hold this. And you
I'll
can-
hold it.
Okay, perfect.
There's some big words in here, so bear with me. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, and will behave in a manner that does not bring discredit to me or to my agency. I will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed, both in my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the law and the regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of a police service. I will never engage in acts of corruption or bribery, nor will I condone such acts by other police officers. I will cooperate with all legally authorized agencies and their representatives in the pursuit of justice. I know that I know that I alone am responsible for my own standard of professional performance and will take every reasonable opportunity to enhance and improve my level of knowledge and competence. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. We are going to sign the code of ethics together, and then if you can have your family or however you want to introduce them, or if I'm certain they don't want to come up, so I won't do that. But my mom and dad are here, and my wife Christina's here, and a whole bunch of friends. I'm not even going to try to recognize everybody here, but I really appreciate everybody's support, and I'm excited for this. I'm definitely nervous. I think we're going to put out a really good product, and the product's public safety, and it's going to be improved public safety on both sides of the river. And thanks everybody for coming. It means a lot. Do you mind? Yeah, sure. That'd be good. Okay, I'm going to try to hit the people. We just want to recognize a few. I know retired Oak Harbor Chief and Captain Kevin Dresker from Wenatchee PD is here. Came all the way from Florida. Not for this. He was in town. And retired Captain Jones from Wenatchee PD also here. Sean Boyle, the Yakima Chief of Police, is here somewhere. There he is. And any other retired. Paul Hughes is here, retired Wenatchee Police. Retired Detective Jeff Dilks from Chelan County is back here. Got a lot of retirees and a whole bunch of current people. I'm sure I missed somebody, sorry. But thanks again for coming. And I'm excited. If I don't look excited, I am. Just nervous. I think that's it.
Thank you, Chief Johnson. The people that are here for Chief Johnson, if you want, you don't have to stay by any means, or you can, and there's going to be public comment if you want to say a few things. We'll let you go from there. We'll just give it a minute here.
It's riveting. You can stick around. We only have L agenda items. Well, it'll be short tonight. Stick around. Here,
All right, now is the time to hear from our community. We welcome your comments. All right, we're going to go with public comment. We welcome your comments, which are very important to us. This is an opportunity for the public to voice their concerns, ideas, or opinions to the city council. We invite you to come up to the podium, state your name and whether or not you live within the city. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes. To ensure everyone can be heard clearly, please hold applause, an audible reaction to respect varying viewpoints, and ensure fairness. As a reminder, this is not an opportunity for dialogue. However, if you do have a question you would like to answer, please leave your contact information with the city clerk here to my left on the front desk. And we'll get back to you. Who would like to come up first? Sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Council. I do not live in Wenatchee. I live on Blewett Pass. My name is Dan Moody. But I do know that as goes our two great cities, so goes our two counties. I want to say thank you to both cities for this opportunity to bring integrity and further the opportunity for integrity in our community. Ethics, I always say, is what happens when people are watching. Integrity is what happens when only he is watching. So we have this great opportunity to once again say that we can work together in such a fashion that everyone in our region can find success at their greatest level to which they are able. So I just want to say thank you so much, because this will mean a world of difference to many people around our region, in our state, as they say, hey, what are those guys doing that we're not doing? And now we are. So thank you for this opportunity to speak. Thank you for the leadership that you are showing on this side of the river, and that Mayor Crawford on the other side is showing over there. Our region rocks, and let everybody know that. So thank you very much, and God bless.
All right, who's next?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brian Campbell, 1837 Jefferson Street. I'm here tonight to actually speak on action item number L, but just a little preface to that. I think there's a lot of times that having been on the council before, I understand this. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of times when council members vote on different things, they really don't have a lot of the background. That's not necessarily unusual. But I think sometimes there's a lot of very important information that doesn't get disclosed, and decisions are made without that information, and they find out after the fact that they wish they would have known that. One case in point would be the contract that you just approved for the Chiefs. I'm not sure most people realize that you can't get out of that contract for 8 months. There's a 120-day clause for exiting the contract. But if you're using a temporary arrangement, you wouldn't normally have an automatic annual renewal in there. So, I mean, the intent is different. So in order to get out of that contract by the end of this year, you'd actually have to, the contract starts on September 1st, you would actually have to give your notice on September 3rd. So I don't think that's going to happen. And then you automatically renew at the end of the year, and so then you've got another 120-day period. So even if you, at the first of the year, you said, okay, we want out, that's another 4 months. So it's an 8-month minimum to get out of that contract. So I'll switch to number L. So this is for the Pybus South Lot. And I've got a great opportunity for you today, because you can save $200,000 on that contract. That contract was awarded with a whole bunch of material being removed from the site. And as you know, in the southeast corner of that lot, there's a huge area where the excess dirt that you're going to be hauling off could be pushed into. And you could literally save $200,000 in less than 2 hours on the CAD system and redo the topography. So I just wanted you to know that, and to maybe explore that before that goes forward. Just looking for some accountability in spending the public money. If it's to try to get the contract larger so that you can get government grants, things like that, it's still tax dollars. It's just coming out of a different bucket. So we're trying to save the customers or the citizens from always being taxed more. So whoever's planning on making a motion in a second, That's one way to delay it, to actually take a look at this and see if it's true. If there's no motion, then it dies. If there's no second, then it dies. So I would recommend that you just take a look at that and see if really you can save $200,000 for the citizens. I mean, this contract that you just do with the police is expected to save maybe $22,000 over 16 months. Here's a chance to save $200,000 of the citizens' money and like that. So just wanted to take a look at that and appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, who's next? Seeing none, anybody online?
Yes.
Would they like to have 3 minutes?
Yes, we have Sean T. who would like to speak.
Okay.
Sean, go ahead. Sean, go ahead. Sean, we're having trouble hearing you. We're not able to hear you. I don't. Okay, go again. We're not able to hear you.
So we can always get public comment through emails to send to our city clerk that can go to all the city council people. Danielle, I'm going to ask for some legal advice. What do I do at this point?
You can continue with the meeting.
Okay, I'm going to close public comment and we'll go on to our consent items. And please, Tammy, if you got email or something or phone number, let's reach out to this person tomorrow and get the comment the best we can, and then we'll get it to all the city council, please. All right. We'll go to our consent items. Entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to approve the agenda, vouchers, and minutes from previous meetings to authorize the mayor to sign the water fire hydrant easement from Jose and Irene Zaldivar for city project number 2104 Pershing Street Stormwater Retrofit Project, and to approve resolution number 2026-20, appointing Christopher Widener as a voting member to the Planning Commission.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Atkinson, second by Councilmember Hornby for City Council to approve the agenda vouchers and minutes from the previous meeting to authorize the mayor to sign the water fire hydrant easement from Jose and Irene Zaldivar for city project number 2104, Pershing Street Stormwater Retrofit Project, and approve resolution number 2026-20, appointing Christopher Widener as a voting member to the Planning Commission. Any discussion or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Councilmember Navarro Gomez on. Okay, all those opposed? Motion carries. We have presentation, Schland Douglas Land Trust. You're it. All right, we get a director.
I'm not the land trust, but that's okay. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Dave Erickson, Parks and Recreation Director for the city, and I want to give you an update on our Lookout Natural Area project, which you've heard about a little bit previously. So the Lookout Natural Area is just north of the town. We acquired that at the end of February through some RCO grants, State Recreation Conservation Office. The map shows you kind of the other main natural areas that we have in town. A little bit on our milestones on the project. So we're currently now on the trailhead portion of it. So last February, we came to you guys, asked for permission to apply for a state grant. have been going through that process all the way through our final presentation, which was just a couple weeks ago in August. And now we're at that yellow line there. We're just waiting for the results to find out where we ranked. It's a highly competitive process. We'll know if everything goes well, we should have a grant contract then next year. We'd also then next year also be applying for another grant, a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, to help supplement the funding for it. Best case scenario, we have all the money, all the grants, all that good stuff, and we're doing final engineering and permitting in 2028, construction out to bid in 2029, construction in 29, and then open for use in 2030. So, you know, that's a really quick process, all things considered for a project of this scale, but we'll show you a little bit about why we're doing this and what this project actually is. So why are we doing a trailhead out in this area? Multiple goals through our comprehensive plan. Say we need to have more trails, more trailheads. As you can probably see if you've been up in the foothills in the spring especially, it's packed, overloved, so this is going to help disperse use. We're going to address the level of service deficiencies in the park system by doing this. And these all came about through the public information process when we were developing that comprehensive plan. But it's not just our plan, it's additional plans. So you go through all these other strategic plans that are out in the valley right now. A lot of them have the similar types of goals, investing in the trail infrastructure, trailheads, parking, access, that type of thing. So we're trying to proactively address those. One other thing that's not really in the plans, but it will also help address parking issues in the area. So that's some parking at Omi Gardens. Right now, there's no parking for that open space at all. So people are parking at Omi Gardens parking area. This will help address that. We'll have parking specifically for the natural area. The area also will extend fire protection up into that area. So we'll bring a fire hydrant up to the trailhead, also plant it with some plant based fire lines that we've been developing with the fire department and all the alphabet agencies in the area after the Broadview fires and Balsam Root fires. So we'll have improved fire protection for that part of the community, which burns about every 4 or 5 years, as well as stormwater protection up in that area too. So incorporating some of those things into this trailhead project. The scope of this trailhead, so it's for non-motorized access. You can kind of see in the white area there, Omi Garden is right down here at the bottom. We have an easement to access where the trailhead is. The black line on there is the existing trail. It goes up all the way up beyond our area, which goes into the Squaw Natural Area, some BLM property, WDFW, Fish and Wildlife property, and I mentioned some of those items there. Zooming in a little closer. So here's Omi Road again. It dead ends up here at Omi Garden. We have an easement for this piece, which is generally where it's mowed right here on this. It's a little over to the side, but generally there. So we'll be having that access up to the trailhead, which will be incorporated into the slope up there. Trailhead, we're using bulldozer fire lines from previous fires, so we can incorporate that trailhead with minimal grading out in that area. What will be up there? I mentioned stormwater. We'll have similar features to what we have at, say, Kenzie's Landing, Saddle Rock Trailhead. So our standard picnic shelter, restroom area, parking for 35 vehicles, ADA access, a new ADA trail to a viewpoint, electric vehicle charging station, and then in the future, if we need additional parking, we've pre-planning for expansion. So putting in crushed rock, planting it with low-growing grasses so we can expand very easily out in that area in the future. Uses, so everything from educational programs to equestrian to trail hiking use, open like Kenzie's Landing is seasonally. So in the wintertime, it's closed for mule deer habitat preservation and other animals that are out there. I should mention that the Land Trust is leading the capital campaign right now, both for the grant match for the trailhead, as well as a stewardship fund, so we can take care of the property in the future. So it'll help pay for maintenance and trail improvements and things like that. This fall, they'll be doing a master planning process for that, so we can develop a sustainable trail system for that property. with that, I'd like to answer any questions you might have, but that's kind of a real quick overview. I know you have a full agenda tonight.
How much do you know about their capital campaign? Like, are they, what percentage they're at? And,
Yeah, last I heard, they were about 90%.
yeah, okay,
94% there, so they're getting really close.
okay,
For us, for the grant, assuming we get the grant, we have to certify our match, which they're providing the majority of that match it'd be about next April or May.
Okay.
So they still have some time to raise that money. And then actually with construction, we wouldn't even be using it until we get closer to construction season.
a great opportunity for us.
Yeah.
No questions, just a comment. This is great. Much needed, solving some issues out there. And as you know, I'm a huge outdoor recreation advocate. It brings our community together. We're more vibrant, we're more healthy, and we're more connected the more trails we have. So thanks.
We'll keep you posted. We should know in another month or two whether or not we get the grant.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll know where we rank,
Yeah,
and then we'll go from there.
got me all excited about
It
it.
depends on
So,
the funding on the state legislature, but
all right, keep us informed.
we'll do.
Great. Thank you,
Thanks,
Dave.
everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
We'll go to our action items. First thing is our HR director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kim Oglesby, Director of Human Resources. It's my honor to bring before you tonight Resolution 2026-23, confirming the mayor's appointment of Edgar Reinfeld as the city administrator for the city of Wenatchee. Edgar served as the city's interim city administrator since August 29th, 2025. With that interim appointment previously confirmed by council through Resolution 2025-27. Under the Wenatchee City Code, the city administrator is appointed by the mayor, and that appointment is subject to confirmation by a majority vote of the city council. This resolution formally confirms Edgar's appointment to the permanent position, repeals the prior interim appointment resolution, and establishes an effective date of August 31st, 2026. There's no additional financial impact, as the city administrator position is already included in the 2026 adopted budget. The requested action this evening is for City Council to pass Resolution 2026-23, appointing Edgar Reinfeld to City Administrator.
Questions for Kim?
Just to comment, this is kind of a bittersweet moment, Edgar. But you know what? I know you're going to do an amazing job, and I'm really thankful that you're doing this. And so with that, I'll move for City Council to approve Resolution Number 2026-23, confirming the mayoral appointment of Edgar Reinfeld to the office of City Administrator, repealing Resolution Number 2025-27, and establishing an effective date of August 31st, 2026.
Second,
Is it you?
yes, or was it? No,
We have a motion by Councilmember Harold and second by Councilmember Rojan-Steen. For City Council to approve Resolution Number 2026-23, confirming the mayoral appointment of Edgar Reinfeld to the office of City Administrator, repealing Resolution Number 2025-27, and establishing an effective date of August 31st, 2026. My comment is, when Edgar was willing to take the interim city administrator, I was like, hey, I need help. And I'm gonna say at first it was like 10 to 15%. And then the directors got pushed another, I don't know, 30 or 40% total. And then I got the privilege to get more involved with a lot of the other stuff. And as the year gone by, it's just an incredible growth. And everything Edgar's ever touched has grown to, I call it to not close in a corner, but expand his mind and objective and goals. So I'm looking forward to seeing things that some of the that we don't see sometimes, and I'm excited about it. So that's my comment. Any other discussion or comments?
One question regarding the realignment of the administrative pay scale that we did. I believe it was 2026-03. And it addressed realignment of the chief and the interim position together for a new pay scale. Where would that land?
We did an interim stipend for him. Is that what you're recalling? Because the stipend will go away, obviously, once he becomes the permanent city administrator.
Okay.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Whew, I'm glad he's not out of a job.
Me too.
David, are you back up? Yes.
Gotta put on the cheaters for this one. All right, thanks, Mayor, Council. Dave Erickson again. So this evening, I'm requesting to move approval of our agreement with Localtel and authorize me to sign it. So you might remember we have an area called the Lookout Natural Area. Talked about it a little while ago. So this is a great public-private partnership opportunity, I think. So Localtel has a transmission tower just to the north of the Lookout Natural Area. It's on BLM property, and they need access to that so they can service it. Well, we happen to have the natural area with a trail that goes almost all the way up there, but we need a trail connection from, say, the end of Omi Road to where the trail is. So Localtel will build that trail for us, or help us build that trail, and then they'll have access to their tower when they need to get up and service it and things like that. So it's a great opportunity for us to get some trail work done, and they'll have access up to their trail. So it's a win-win for them and us. So I'm requesting approval of that agreement. We've been working on this for, oh wow, since spring at least. And Jonathan and Doug are here from Localtel
Yeah.
also, if you have any questions for them as well. But try to answer your questions you might have.
It is a good partnership, and they're so cooperative, and whatever we ask for, it seems like they'll come through. So thank you.
And they've done similar trail work like this at other transmission towers that they have. And so partnering with us and the Land Trust as well to build this trail connection so it meets everybody's needs.
Well, I love partnerships like this for our community. So with that, Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to approve the license agreement with Localtel and authorize the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services Director to sign. Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Rodenstein and a second by Councilmember Cuevas for City Council to approve the license agreement with Localtel and authorize the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services Director to sign. Any other discussion or comments? And I'm going to interrupt here. Tammy, is Myra on?
She is on.
If we can't hear her, can she do like a thumbs up, thumbs down, something like that, maybe? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Hi, Emma.
Great. Good evening, council. My name is Emma Honeycutt. I'm the Assistant City Engineer in the Public Works Department, and we have Jake here as well.
Jake Loring, City Engineer.
And we're here tonight to talk to you about setting a Target Zero goal for traffic fatalities and serious injury collisions in the city of Wenatchee as it relates to our SS4A Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan. And I know we have a busy agenda, so I'll try to go through these slides in a timely manner. So first, I kind of just wanted to do a brief recap of what the Safe Systems approach is and why we're here. The Safe Systems approach is an approach to addressing traffic safety that relies on 6 separate pieces of the pie in terms of all the things that go into traffic safety, and it is based on 5 tenets or principles. The first one being that death and serious injuries are unacceptable. Traffic violence is the leading cause of death in the US for ages 5 through 45 for preventable deaths in the country. The second principle of the safe systems approach is that humans make mistakes. I think we've all been a little sleepy at the wheel. If you have a surprise or something in your car, it might draw your focus away for a second, and it's easy to say that should never happen and that would solve the problem, but I think we all can understand that that's not the reality. The third principle is that humans are vulnerable. This graphic represents the effect of each 5 miles per hour, each 10 miles per hour on the survivability of a crash between a car and a pedestrian. If a vehicle is going 40 miles per hour, there's a 90% chance that a pedestrian will get killed if they get hit. If they slow down to 30, that goes down to 50%, and if they slow down to 20, it goes all the way down to 10. So it's kind of like an exponential effect. It's not a direct effect by mile per hour. Skip that one. The fourth principle is that responsibility is shared. This is kind of built around the idea that the old way of thinking is that the driver of a car is the person who's in charge of making sure everything is perfect. This kind of lends itself towards the fact that it's the responsibility of the vehicle maker, the responsibility of driver schools, of the pedestrians themselves, and everyone that's involved in the journey of a traffic fatality. And then the fifth principle is that safety is proactive. The kind of the old way of dealing with traffic safety is if you have a crash history or a crash at an intersection, you fix the intersection and you move on. The safe system approach deals with looking at the crash history on a holistic level in a city, on your entire road system, and understanding kind of what's going on and identifying places and policies to improve to try to keep those things from happening as opposed to chasing after crash after crash. And the last principle is that redundancy is crucial. This is where the sort of wagon wheel comes in. If we strive to make improvements in each section of the wagon wheel, meaning safer roads, safer road users, safer speeds, post-crash care, safer land use, unfortunately, if any of those one systems fails, theoretically, you still have 5 systems in place to protect vehicles and pedestrians. So in terms of the Swiss cheese model, if you look at this graphic, if 3 of the systems fail, but you have a super safe road, then you've still prevented a fatality. I'll talk a little bit about that later. I'll briefly go over the crash data that we have observed over the last 5 years that kind of informs our path forward. First, we'll talk about vocabulary a little bit. We call them crashes and collisions, not accidents anymore. There are no accidents according to the safe system theory. There's a whole book about it up in my office if you want to borrow it. KSI injuries are injuries that resulted in a fatality or a serious injury, and a serious injury means a severe life-altering physical injury. So not a cast, not a cut, something that is debilitating. Systematic safety deals with looking at systematic improvements to a roadway system as a whole and not chasing after individual crash locations. And then vulnerable road users are pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorcyclists, basically anyone that's not in a vehicle. And that comes into play when we look at our crash data and what we're actually seeing out in the roads. So this is kind of the first part of the Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan that we've been developing over the past year. I just kind of wanted to take you through the collision summary and the crash history as we look forward to trying to figure out how to mitigate it and what a reasonable goal is to get to 0. The top line on this slide shows the total crashes in the city of Wenatchee for the past 5 years, and then the bottom line shows the KSI crashes. And so we've got a few hundred, several thousand over 5 years of vehicle crashes throughout the past 5 years, and about 6 to 10 KSI crashes each year, which basically means someone's going to the hospital every 4 to 8 weeks in our city with a life-changing, debilitating injury. The theory of Target Zero is not to eliminate all crashes in the entire city, it's to eliminate the KSIs. So we're never gonna get rid of all the crashes, but if we can make improvements in post-crash care, safe road users, the goal is to bring the KSIs down. And here, I kind of went back, we have a little bit longer crash data, so I went back as far as I could find, which was 2013. in our city's KSIs to see how we've been trending over the years. And not unique to us, it's a slow trend upwards, especially a little bit more recently as we've had a lot of growth and we have a lot more pedestrians and vulnerable users, which we hear from all of our planning efforts is what people want, is to be able to walk and roll. But unfortunately, that is having a direct correlation on our KSIs in the city.
I just would add, I think that it does correlate statewide, well, nationwide really, post-COVID, especially seeing some spikes, which I think also leads itself to the safe system that, you know, it's lack of education where we had it could be many things and many things are being pointed to, and it's probably a combination of all those people not going through driver school or just not being on the road for a period of time. So we kind of lost this generation, and so there's a lot of factors that kind of leads, and you see how they fit in that wagon wheel that are being pointed at. But we are seeing that across the country, sort of post-COVID, a spike, trending in the wrong direction, I should say.
Trending in the wrong direction and with intention. We've had safety planning and a safety program at the city this whole time. We've gone after grants, we've chased after crashes, but what this tells me is that we need a more holistic citywide safety approach. So, and just really quick to look at what our KSI information tells us. If you look at the entire 2,200 crashes, 85% of them are car-to-car crashes, so vehicle rear ends and sideswipes, stuff like that. If you drill down to the KSIs, that number goes down to 31%. So from 85 to 31% for KSIs. The rest of the killed and serious injury crashes are pedestrians, bicycles, and motorcycles primarily. So that's where that term vulnerable user comes into play. This is just kind of a fun fact slide to drill down further into the KSIs for data nerds like me who are interested. These are just the KSIs we're looking at, and there are factors like entering at an angle, bicyclists, fixed objects, pedestrians, stuff like that. So I'll briefly run through the community engagement phase. We just recently got our community engagement report back from the consultant, Fair and Peers, who's putting this plan together for us. And so we kind of wanted to take you through what was said and how it kind of informs what we're seeing. We got 500 comments from the survey. It was a mapping application where you could drag your little guy to somewhere in the city and say what you had to say about a specific location, whether you felt safe or unsafe or why. This graph shows where people generally feel safe and where they don't feel safe. For the most part, people feel safe on trails, public transit, and in school zones. So basically separated facilities for vulnerable users and school zones, which are intentional and regulated in terms of behavior. And I would say in a school zone, more so than on regular roads, I think that shared responsibility comes in, because when you're in a school zone, even as a driver, you're looking out and you're a partner in your experience as opposed to some other situations. Where people feel the most unsafe is on bike lanes, at pedestrian crossings, and on the couplet, which is the one-ways Mission and Chelan. And I will say that data in terms of where people feel most unsafe aligns with the data that we found in the crash history pretty significantly. This was a little activity that we did with Junior City Council and with the public in terms of how people could spend their money, what they would want to spend their money on in terms of making things safer. And the highest scoring countermeasures were separating bikes from people in terms of, marked bike lanes, improving safety at intersections, and improving pedestrian crossings. And so again, those three things kind of align with what the data tells us we need to spend our money on as well. So all of that's just kind of the existing lay of the land where we're at. And so what we're asking for from council tonight is to adopt a Vision Zero statement. The Vision Zero statement is a part of the statutory requirement for performing the SS4A process and putting the plan together. For us, I think it gives Jake and I guidance in terms of how to prioritize, what policies to prioritize and ask for, and what to update in terms of design standards and stuff like that. So the proposal that we came up with, and this is through, we've had a task force that we've been meeting with for a year now, and taking them through all the data, taking through all the crash data and the risk factors, and having sort of a brain trust about what can we do and what do we feel like is achievable. And so staff would recommend that the city commits to a goal of eliminating all traffic fatalities and serious injuries by 2046. 2046 aligns with the horizon year for the urban area comprehensive plan update that's going on right now. that plan addresses vulnerable users and it addresses mobility in terms of vehicles and bikes and peds. And the value of having the 20-year horizon is that gives us every 2 to 3 years to check back in and see how we're doing and see how the system's performing. So in terms of zero sounds like a lot of agencies have tried it and we're all in different various stages of trying to accomplish it. In terms of implementation of what that could look like, I would bring you back to this slide in terms of finding policies, countermeasures, mitigation strategies in each of the 6 wagon wheels. And I will say those policy changes are not housed in the city of Wenatchee necessarily for improvements in each of these. We have a task force that folks from Confluence Health have a seat at the table with the traffic safety task force in terms of improving post-crash care and understanding what that looks like. So if you go back to the collision summary in terms of implementation and figuring out how to get to zero, this collision summary shows us where the crashes are happening. The map shows where the KSIs are, and also the purple is the overall crashes. So it helps point us towards where our high injury network is. So the way that we are proposing to mitigate and get to zero from a sort of a data science standpoint is to identify the corridors that we're seeing an overabundance of KSIs. Take a look at them, figure out physical characteristics of those corridors, what's going on, what do they all have in common, which leads us to our high-risk network. So once we look at the corridors, and we have looked at the corridors where we see a bunch of injury crashes, we came up with a list of 5 kind of traits that they had in common. And then we went back out to our roadway system and found other roadways in our system that share those traits, but for whatever reason, luckily have not seen the same crash history yet. And so the locations where we're proposing countermeasures is inclusive of all of those roads. So not just where we have seen crashes, but where we will see crashes as well. So in terms of, implementation and policy changes and ways to actually get to zero, there are safer roads, which is kind of our wheelhouse. It's what we're used to doing as our capital delivery program. There's also opportunities to revisit our roadway design standards to daylight pedestrians more prevalently. Specifically, I think everyone's kind of gone down Orondo, tried to cross Orondo coming from Cherry Street, and there's a hill, and there's a lot of peds, and there's parking, and there's a lot going on, and there's opportunity to daylight peds there, just as an example. There's also speed studies that can be used as a tool, so kind of like speed management plans that a city can use to determine what an appropriate speed limit would be, paired with traffic calming mitigation and enforcement to ensure that that actually happens. And then, in addition to systematic treatments and policies, our consultant has come up with a list of priority projects for roadway improvements that is reflected on this slide. I won't go through every project in the interest of time, but there's an algorithm that was developed in terms of a formula for what the crashes actually are, what the characteristics are, and where we should plan to focus our funds first. And so with that, I'm happy to entertain any questions or comments, compliments.
Looks like the bridge is excluded. George Seller Bridge specifically is excluded. It's not a city street.
Right, yep, it is. It's a WashDOT facility.
So are you going to use the Chelan Douglas Transportation Council speed study that Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, is that going to be part of this?
Yes, we already have some of our first implementation strategies are kind of already on the ground, which is we got some funding from the Transportation Council to do a citywide speed study in partnership with East Wenatchee to look at where our speeds are and where they could be. And that goes back to that graph of every 5 miles per hour, just an exponential increase in survivability. And so if it's a softer hit and you can get them to a hospital faster, that's why we think zero is actually possible.
So I don't really have like a question, but the reality of this is we are going to make change. And the community needs to understand that change is coming. This council needs to understand that we are going to get hounded and staff is going to get hounded with changes. So a perfect example, my favorite topic, my favorite road in Wenatchee is First Street. those calming circles. Those are the types of things, reality is, that we are going to be facing if we want to get this zero. So we all need to understand that. I am 100% in favor of this, but this is the reality that's coming. Speeds are being reduced, traffic calming measures are going to be put in place, and in order to implement this, this is going to be 46, 20 years of, well, let's just be very frank, being chewed on by the public because some of them don't like it. So we just need to go into this open-eyed, and this is physical change, infrastructure improvements that is going to be at sometimes painful.
It's certainly a paradigm shift, and Jake can speak a little bit to the airplane analogy, but and concurrent to that, the biggest complaint I get as the person who gets a lot of complaints is speeds. You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's certainly relevant.
Yeah, and I think, those comments are well said, and, we're committed to, to dealing with that because we can see the end goal here. But, I think, I just wanted to point out, while this Safe Streets for All action plan really is heavily focused on infrastructure using the safe system approach, we have some other kind of plans that are in place that we're currently pursuing, like our community safety action plan, where we are looking at those other behavioral factors. And not just us, but we have partnered with the school district, all these different agencies, where the idea is that, like Emma mentioned before, the city can't do all these things, but we need to bring partners, and we're seeing that. There's a region task force that's on both sides of the river. The speed study that we're gonna do, we actually partnered with East Wenatchee with the recognition that just because you drive our streets doesn't mean you live within our city limits, and we should look at, at speeds for people that encounter all these roads, because most of us do go on both sides of the river in both counties on a daily basis. So I agree with you, and we are, I think there's a lot of active efforts going on to bring in a lot of partners and across the different spheres of public with this effort to achieve safety. So.
I just thank you for all the hard work, but also just having that singular goal of zero, I think is awesome, because it just puts us all on the same page that one's too many, and you keep trying to improve regardless, and everyone's on the same page. So I like that aspect of it.
I have to reinforce what they said. I totally agree with them, and this is really important. Thank you for what you're doing. It needs to happen.
Thank you.
I appreciate the way you guys have led in this effort, and it's not, there's more behind it than just a job, so thank you for that. And mention too, Councilmember Cuevas has brought some really on-the-ground insights to this issue in terms of the task force, so thank you for that, appreciate that input. And with that, I will make a motion for the City Council to adopt a Target Zero goal statement as follows. The City of Wenatchee commits to the goal of eliminating all traffic fatalities and serious injuries on city streets by 2046.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Atkinson, second by Councilmember Cuevas. Thank you. For City Council to adopt a Target Zero goal statement as follows. The City of Wenatchee commits to the goal of eliminating all traffic fatalities and serious injuries on city streets by 2046. You guys didn't mention this tonight, but there's a place that actually did this.
Yes, there's at least one case study. The city of Hoboken in New Jersey, they had a mayor who, when he ran for election, his experience crossing the street with a stroller, he just realized this is dangerous. So he got really serious, and they adopted a Target Zero policy, and they implemented a lot of policies, and some of that's they lowered speed limits on their city streets to 20 miles an hour. They daylighted all the intersections, so they went out and looked for low-cost treatments like striping bulb outs, so just cheap paint and little pylons. And the case study I read, the last, here a couple years ago, they were almost a decade of zero KSIs in their city. So, slightly different environment, more population than us, but they went with a data-driven approach similar to this of what is causing these KSIs, and then they went and attacked those with low-cost methods that did have some impacts, and there's some trade-offs, but what they've seen is they've actually achieved Target Zero for a decade.
So I do not like Target Zero except with your passion and the stories that you guys told me, I want to buy into this, and it is truly, the council has to figure out on this one, if we didn't have this place in here, then where are you guys supposed to go, right? And so that's why it's so meaningful to show the facts and the truth, and sometimes we're supposed to get the hit for the better or the good. So, any other comments or statements?
I just want to mention that this is a big deal. Safety on our streets is a big deal, believe it or not, and I concur with Councilmember Hornby, what he mentioned. You know, it's going to be hard, difficult, it's going to take time, but I do believe, because I work in the transportation business and I see this every day in the outside of the world, that we're going to do this. Believe it or not, we're going to take it down to zero with all the help of all the agencies and communities and our own communities here with our neighbors. It's, I do believe it's going to happen. And I do appreciate the work and that we've been working on. It's not easy, but it's going to be, heck, it's going to be great. Appreciate all your help and all the work you guys been doing.
So tell us what we can do to help.
Well, a lot of the things that I'm accounting for will be, we're conclude this plan. It will help us prioritize projects, and policies like this speed study. I think that'll be the next kind of tangible thing we come back with as we evaluate speeds. Not only what are safe speeds in our community, but what are measures we need to do to make sure those safe speeds occur. And we can't just rely on, enforcement. This needs to be, again, it's just that Swiss cheese model. So we're going to work together, and that'll probably be the first thing you'll hear about, which is we're excited that we funded that through the region here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
your passion. Wastewater treatment plant. Supervisor.
Good evening, council members and mayor. Mike Hodgson, the wastewater treatment plant supervisor, and I'm here to make a motion for the city to amend the professional service agreement with Control Systems Northwest for their on-call design and supervisory control data acquisition programming services with additional budget and time, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents. The city has contracted with Control Systems Northwest since 2025, and this amendment would extend their services through June 30th of 2027. The services they provide in support of the SCADA system is the backbone of the plant, security, control, alarms. It allows, the guys to go home every night instead of being at the plant 24/7. It's huge, and it prioritizes alarms. Say you get an alarm with a priority number 1, it means get your butt down there, something's really goofed up, and then you call in reinforcements. Some are like a heads up, but without the SCADA programming, it'd be a tough road to hoe.
Saves us labor. That's a great explanation, Mike. I appreciate that, because I think it's important. It saves labor than somebody standing there all the time and the bells and whistles. And then if something does happen, all the additional cost it's going to cost us. So this is going to save us. Who knows how much it saves us at a time. So you explained it really well, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll make a motion for City Council to amend the professional services agreement contract for continuing to provide on-call design and SCADA programming support services with additional budget and time, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Rodenstein and a second by Councilmember Harold for City Council to amend the professional service agreement contract for continuing to provide on-call design and SCADA programming support services with additional budget and time, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Mike.
Mayor Poyer, council members, good evening. Tom Walkholder, Public Works Director. The first item I have this evening is just a housekeeping item associated with a financial policy update. What I'm requesting is City Council to adopt Resolution 2026-22 to amend and restate the city's financial policy and procedure manual. This amendment is associated with right-of-way and real estate transactions. So the current adopted financial policy is silent on real estate and right-of-way transactions. With the number of capital projects that the Public Works Department delivers, there are at times several right-of-way related transactions, some of which are small in nature and minor. So for example, like a temporary construction easement could be for a couple $100 or a couple $1,000. Because the policy is silent, we've been having to bring these individual items to council each time. So what we're proposing is to add real estate and right-of-way transactions to our contracting policy with the same limits that we currently have for executing contracts and also amending contracts. So again, like I said, for the two reasons I just stated, we're policy silent, and then with the significant number of projects that we have, it's an administrative burden to prepare agenda reports for each individual right-of-way transaction, below certain amounts. So for example, some of these larger capital projects like Confluence Parkway, North Wenatchee Avenue improvements, these larger items will still be coming to council. With that being said, I'm happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Just a comment. You're making government run quicker. I don't know.
That's the goal.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to adopt Resolution number 2026-22, amending and reinstating the city financial policy and procedure manual and repealing Resolution number 2024-01.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hornby and second by Councilmember Rodenstein for City Council to adopt Resolution number 2026-22, amending and restating the city financial policy and procedure manual, and repealing Resolution number 2024-01. Any other comments or discussion?
One other quick question. I'm trying to remember from earlier, did you say if it pushed it over the budget, does that still have to come to council, or is it?
Correct. It has to be budgeted. So if any transaction is, regardless of the amount, if it's
Okay,
not
that's what I
budgeted,
thought,
it has
yeah.
to go to city
Just
council.
wanted to make sure, yeah.
Yep. Good question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, you're still up.
Yes, the next item I have this evening is seeking council approval for an agreement for private funding, construction, and charitable donation of South Wenatchee Avenue infrastructure and streetscape improvements between the City of Wenatchee and WA Wenatchee Streetscape LLC, or assigns as approved by the mayor. This is a big item, and the Widener team is with us this evening. I'd like to introduce them. So we have Nick Notarski, Kevin Ellswick, Riley Burbridge, Drew Fulton, and Ben Stoff. So they are here this evening. They made the trip over from Kirkland to be here with us. So this is a very rare opportunity we have this evening to approve this agreement. I'll get into a little bit of the details, but this is a charitable gift from the Widener Group to the City of Wenatchee. It's a transformative gift. It's a once in a lifetime type of a thing here, where you have a charitable donation to enhance infrastructure in the city that goes above and beyond like a private project. So let us get into this. And also too, I'd like to acknowledge the staff on the city side that put a lot of effort into this. First and foremost was Mayor Poirier. He was at the table, really working through this agreement behind the scenes. Jake Lewing, our city engineer, Emma Honeycutt, our assistant city engineer, Thomas Stanford, project engineer. They put a lot of time into this. And last but certainly not least, Steve Smith, one of our city engineers. I got a lot of time out of Steve on this, and his efforts were very much appreciated. And also too, the approach was very collaborative with the Widener Group, so it was a good process to work through. Despite how unique it was and the heavy lifting involved, it went pretty smooth. So just a very quick overview. So the project area we're talking about is Wenatchee Avenue from Kittitas Street to Arrondo. You can see here on the screen this area blocked out in red. These are the frontage improvements associated with the Majestic apartment building. So that's not included into the streetscape project, but what is shown on the screen, and you can see the aerial view of the rendering. So some of the scope of improvements here include the curb realignment to accommodate wider walking paths, raised intersection at Wenatchee Ave and Yakima Street, raised mid-block crossings, street trees, planter areas, a new water main, and historic pedestrian light poles. The next few slides I'm about to share are really cool renderings of what the project is going to look like. So here, this is a view from Yakima Street, Wenatchee Avenue, looking south. And you can see again the enhanced planter beds, the wider walking paths. That again is going to be a raised intersection, so it's going to provide some pedestrian improvements. Those are safer facilities for pedestrians. It not only enhances the landscape. Here's a mid-block view of about the 120 block of South Wenatchee Avenue. This is one of the proposed mid-block crossings near the Key Bank. This will be a raised mid-block crossing. This is a view of 200 block of South Wenatchee Avenue looking north. As you can see here, one item to note is to accommodate these enhancements, the angled parking will be converted to parallel parking. However, there will be some mitigating parking areas being provided in the Majestic apartments. Let me know if you'd like to know more details about that. Here's another rendering. Here's what the mature street trees will look like in the fall. And part of the improvements include putting lights in these trees, so there's also a really nice rendering of what it looked like at night during certain times of the year. And the last rendering is a mid-block of South Wenatchee showcasing the new jailhouse and Majestic apartments. So again, this just really kind of shows the magnitude of this, but this is a significant private investment. So these improvements are valued at $12 to $15 million as a charitable gift to the city. Again, a transformative gift. So major streetscape enhancements, I just shared the scope of work in terms of what that includes. These two downtown blocks will be constructed to city standards, and the Widener Group will take care of the landscape maintenance. They'll fund it for 3 years following completion of the project. After the 3 years, the city will maintain this area, and we'll work through costs and resources to take care of that over the next few months, up to a year. We have 3 years to work through that. So there's significant public benefit as well. So again, with just the wider walkways, walking paths, raised mid-block crossings, raised intersections, there is a safety enhancement to this, not only enhancing the downtown, but it does provide a more welcoming and more accessible part of the downtown. Significant capital investment without a city match, and a replacement of an aging 1930s era water main, water main that is being replaced as part of this project. So I'm going to go through the agreement very high level. This was brought forth to finance today, finance committee, and the details were really worked through. So if there's any high level questions, please just let me know. So the agreement outlines various risk items, two of which I wanted to highlight with the council are unforeseen conditions. These are in particular some environmental unforeseen conditions. The agreement outlines that the Widener team will cover the first $500,000 of any unforeseen environmental risks. That again is a part of the charitable nature of this. After the first $500,000, the city is responsible for 50% of any unforeseen environmental conditions, up to a max exposure of $1.5 million total, but the city's max exposure is $500,000. And I've worked with Brad Posenjack, our finance director. We do have non-general funds available to support that if the need arises. The second item is the sidewalk void, which is adjacent to the India House. So this is a void underneath the sidewalk that the city is currently exploring. The agreement provides this as an optional improvement for the city, so in the event there's some significant cost the city does not have budget for or is not prepared for, there is an out for the city. It's kind of reiterating the risk mitigation. Again, the agreement provides a cap on exposure for both parties. There's provisions in the agreement that allow either party to terminate the agreement for various reasons. And there's a 2-year warranty period on construction. So that was that's it in a nutshell. And again, can't thank the Widener Group. I mean, this is a significant contribution to the city, and it's really gonna be a game changer for downtown. If you'd like to say something, Nick?
Thank you, Tom. So, I'm Nick Nowatarski from Widener, and I have 4 of my peers here with me today. Thank you for having us. I had the privilege to work for Dean for about 3 years. He sadly passed away this last March at the age of 83, but it was always apparent his love for Wenatchee. He started building housing here in the Wenatchee Valley over 15 years ago. Over that time, he got to know the city, its people, the businesses, former Mayor Kuntz, and Mayor Mike. The Streetscape project is a charitable beautification project and meant to celebrate downtown. This project would not have been possible without a tremendous amount of effort. In particular, I wanted to thank the mayor, city attorney Steve, city staff, Jake, Emma, Thomas, and Tom. This is a unique project. There's no off-the-shelf game plan. I mean, this was a lot of coming together and figuring it out, and how do we come together as partners. The city couldn't have been better partners on this project. I mean, there's a lot of hours spent, especially over the last month or two, making this happen. Thank you again for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to work with you and to be part of your community. Thank you.
Nick, we need to tell you how thankful we are. This would never happen, ever. And you need to go back to your charitable organization, and you guys followed through with stuff that didn't have to. And it's just an incredible, which I know you guys don't even want us to tell any numbers, but we may be on the hook for 500,000, and you guys did this for the city of Wenatchee, maybe up to 15 million. We thank you, and I need to make sure that's expressed back to your organization. You reached out to the Downtown Association, and I see the executive director back there, and you're always in communication. And when you started this, even a couple years ago, when I was at some conferences and meetings, and I says, if you own a piece of property, don't sell it if you're downtown, because it's gonna be this vibrant, you're bringing money in for the future, for the city. So I am so glad Dean, he might as well have been born here, raised here, because that's how he acted on it. And thank you for fulfilling everything. It'd be incredible. It'd be incredible to be able to work for your organization. So what a contribution you guys are giving, and thank you for us reaping all the benefits. So, and it's funny because funny is weird. Anything we come up with, like, oh, we're struggling with this, you guys figure it out. Doesn't mean you always pay the money, but you have been, or say, well, how can we figure this out? And you'll spend all the resources you have to work with us. So I can't, again, tell you how thankful I am. And you guys should be proud to where you guys work. So.
Thank you. It's been honestly, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, these are the kinds of projects that all of us dream of working on every day and are just so grateful. This is the fun part of our business, and just like I said, so appreciative to be able to do this and all come together as partners on this. So thank you.
I just want to comment that the area where you guys are at, it was empty. you know, and you are now beautifying it. You're making it more, how do I say that word when you, like, more,
Ambiance.
what?
Ambiance.
Yeah, more flowery, you know, more beautiful, yeah. And it just, how would I say, express this? I will know that the neighbors, business neighbors, even us, we have a business a few blocks down. We're gonna start beautifying our businesses. And they're gonna start growing and getting bigger because of the beauty that's gonna be seen. Because I can see it from my house a mile away. I was like, that building, wow. You know, it catches my eye, it catches my attention. I see the art, it's amazing. I love this. You're beautifying it, and I love it. And I want to say thank you to, concur to the mayor.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment. There's a direct correlation between downtown housing and economic vitality of your community. And this is a great example because people living downtown spend their time in the restaurants and shopping downtown, and it's a big push. This is beautiful, and when I read through the packet, what I could tell or see is that you folks are taking on a huge financial commitment here, and thank you so much. I mean, you have really been an amazing community partner.
Thank you. I mean, it's really, you know, Dean, rest in peace, deserves all the credit. Just from the get-go, he said, hey, like, I want to do something that's special, that is, you know, something to really celebrate the city. And it's just, this was, you know, he was focused on housing, but really community. And you know, I mean, Tom hit it really well, but the pedestrian experience, being able to walk down the street, get to know your neighbors, walk your dog, have a nice conversation, have a cup of coffee, and this will, you know, there's so much energy on Wenatchee Avenue, and it will just help bring some of that a couple blocks further down south.
My son's a filmmaker, and this story would be, he would tell me it would be too cheesy because it's so good. But thank you very much. Yeah, it's a great story.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to approve the agreement for private funding, construction, and charitable donation for South Wenatchee Avenue infrastructure and streetscape improvements with WA Wenatchee Streetscape LLC or signs as approved by the mayor, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement contingent upon staff level review and approval of final construction plans and special provisions.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hornby and second by Councilmember Harold for City Council to approve the agreement for private funding, construction, and charitable donation of South Wenatchee Avenue infrastructure and streetscape improvements with the WA Wenatchee Streetscapes Limited Liability Corporation or signs as approved by the mayor, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement contingent upon staff level review and approval of final construction plans and special provisions. Any other discussion or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
For sure. Good luck with the next one, huh? What do we have? Let's see it. Zach, let's see you top that.
I don't think I can.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Zach Horton, Senior Project Engineer with the City of Wenatchee Department of Public Works. I'm here tonight to request a motion for City Council to authorize the City Administrator to execute change order number 4 to Task Order CP South with Kramer Scarcella, our contractor on Confluence Parkway. This is for some additional improvements to further implement the purpose and need of the grant we were awarded, the infra grant, as well as the MA money. And I brought this to Finance Committee earlier and discussed it at length. This is within our current approved project budget, and the plan is still to complete all these improvements by our substantial completion date within our term sheet with the United States Department of Transportation. I mean, the numbers are in there. I could basically just turn it over to you if you have any questions. Just to recap, this is for improvements at Maple Street and Wenatchee Avenue, as well as additional signal at Taco Bell and the Big Rock right there on Wenatchee Avenue, and some additional street widening along Wenatchee Ave to reduce congestion, improve accessibility and safety along that corridor.
And this was brought to finance today.
Yep, that's correct.
Public Services, seen it many times.
Yes. I've talked to you probably 3 or 4 times on this matter.
We're not going to make a movie on this one, Zach, but I will make a motion for the city council to authorize the city administrator to execute change order number 4 to task order CP South with Kramer Scarcella joint venture for the Confluence Parkway Phase 1 project pending WashDOT concurrence.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Atkinson, second by Councilmember Hornby for City Council to authorize City Administrator to execute change order number 4 to task order CP South with Kramer Scarcella joint venture for the Confluence Parkway Phase 1 project pending WashDOT concurrence. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nick, do you guys staying here tonight or are you leaving? I like you guys, unless you want, you don't need it, I'd like you guys to drive safe home, so thanks for staying here the whole time. I'm just throwing that out to you, so.
We got another page to go through.
We got another page to go through. We do have a Coast Hotel that's coming up that's gonna spend some money too, so, on it, so, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thomas, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am bringing to you tonight a request for motion for the City Council to approve Resolution 2026-10, establishing a public hearing for the petition Duncan Street partial vacation on October 8th, 2026 City Council meeting. I brought this to Public Services Committee earlier this week. It's a petition to vacate a portion of Duncan Road. It's kind of an awkwardly shaped piece of right-of-way that juts into private property that we've determined we won't need for future road improvements, and it greatly enhances the ability for that parcel to develop. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I don't have any questions. Thanks for bringing it to Public Services. It was cool to see all the schematics and drawings, but I'll move for City Council to approve resolution number 2026-10, establishing a public hearing for the petition Duncan Road partial vacation at the October 8th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Odyssey and a second by Councilmember Atkinson for City Council to approve resolution number 2026-10, establishing a public hearing for the petition Duncan Road partial vacation at the October 8, 2026 City Council meeting. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, Matt.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Matt Parsons, Senior Planner. We received a petition from KMO Holdings LLC for annexation of 2 parcels. It's just east of the intersection of South Wenatchee Avenue and Malaga-Alcoa Highway. It's an area of 2.64 acres, and it's currently zoned industrial. The purpose of this meeting is we just need a motion that will authorize me to create a petition to give to them. Just a little bit of background of why they're annexing. It's currently the Stemilt Organic Recycling Facility. They have a building there. They're hoping to remodel that building to be farm worker housing. Point of clarification, that's not allowed under industrial zoning. They plan to later apply for a rezone. That's not part of this action. So this action would just annex it under current zoning. So sometime next year, if they apply for a rezone, then that would be considered for, I think they're planning on South Wenatchee Business District. So just a clarification, this is simply an annexation under current zoning of industrial, which doesn't allow any type of residential. But they just wanted, from what I understand, wanted to process their project with the city rather than the county. It's been a little while since we've processed any annexations, and I believe the last action was a final ordinance in January of 2023. And so I just want to, for those who maybe haven't seen one of these before, and also a refresher for those for whom it's been a while, these annexations, they come to you 4 times before they're done. So this first meeting, it's basically you can decide if the council wants to entertain annexing a particular area. And there's 3 things that you determine. If you like the boundary, if you want to keep the zoning, and what you set the zoning to be, and what the indebtedness is. That's if they accept any bonds that are out there. We've already zoned it through our comprehensive plan, so the zoning always remains the same. I'll circulate a petition. If you pass this motion, it gets validated by the assessor's office. They'll come back to you to set a public hearing. And then at the public hearing, you authorize me to create a notice of intention for the boundary review board. After they've gone through their process, then it would finally come back to you for an ordinance. So I just wanted to provide some context. This is just the first step, and it'll take, I think probably if everything goes as planned, about next summer, we'd be getting you back with an ordinance. So any questions on this proposal?
I'm guessing you know exactly what they want to do with this property. If you don't, I do. So I'm just
Okay.
kind of curious. So I think it's important that, because sometimes our permit process, we get people complain about our permit process. They want this annexed in because they believe it's easier to get permit processes through the city. And Mr. Matheson with Stamilt, it's his property, and what he wants to do is a little bit of housing, some farm housing there. So I'm not gonna code it. He wants to work with the city. And, so that's the future, how this is gonna
Yes.
play out. And he's playing the long game, and he just knows our permit process, and working with the city is what he wants to do. So I'm just gonna throw that out to you guys so you know. No hidden, I don't think there's any hidden secrets here, and it's gonna be better for our community.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you knew all that or not.
I do, yes. I think hopefully I believe
But
I
I know one
alluded to
separate,
it.
I know one separate than the other, but I was just like, hey,
Yeah.
here's the future of this property.
We've got a sewer lift station in the vicinity that the city operates.
That's right, that's the property just to the south. And when we get these in, I talk with Public Works, typically about right-of-way, and in this case, there's a city-owned property adjacent. They recommended not including any adjacent right-of-way in this case. We'd gladly take it on in the future as additional properties annex. But specifically to that, I was told they're happy keeping it unincorporated at this point.
Okay, that answers it.
Any other questions for Matt?
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to approve the annexation boundary in response to the 10% annexation petition for property located in an unincorporated area on South Wenatchee Avenue and Malaga-Alcoa Highway to require the adoption of the proposed zoning regulations as it is set forth in the comprehensive plan of the city, and to require the assumption of existing indebtedness of the city by the area to be annexed.
Second.
Yeah, motion by Councilmember Atkinson, second by Councilmember Cuevas for City Council to approve the annexation boundary in response to the 10% annexation petition for property located in an unincorporated area of South Wenatchee Avenue and Malaga-Alcoa Highway to require the adoption of the proposed zoning regulations as is set forth in the comprehensive plan of the city, and to require the assumption of existing indebtedness of the city by the area to be annexed. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks for working with him. At one time, when I was on city council, I think one of the last annexations, it was said, the city will never annex anything ever again. That's been kind of told because of the frustration, but this is obviously a great opportunity for us to get this annexation. So thank you for working on that. Who's up? Ruth, are you? Okay, great.
Good evening. I'm Ruth Traxler. I'm the principal planner. And I've got Emma Honeycutt, the assistant city engineer, and Chris Hansen, building official. Oh, I think we've got the wrong
That's the wrong slide.
presentation. Tammy.
Yeah, not yet.
Should say fee update. Yeah, so that's the second one from the top. So we're here tonight to request adoption of an ordinance to update the fee schedule for the community development and public works departments. So I'll talk through sort of our approach and priorities in that update, and then we'll each individually talk through our own division updates in terms of specific.
Are you looking for, maybe we'll do a
Please.
7-inning stretch, just a stretch.
Oh, sure.
Just stretch.
That's fine.
Got it.
I don't know. They got it? Okay. Sorry.
You can still stretch, that's
Okay,
fine.
thanks.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. Okay, so the last comprehensive update of the fee schedule was completed in 2014. So it's been over 12 years since we've taken a look at updating our fees. And these are fees for everything from building and grading permits, right-of-way permits, sign permits, licenses for having a home-based business. It covers a really wide range of work that community development and public works departments do. And so over the last 12 years, of course, costs have risen in various ways. So we've had increases in hard or fixed costs. So for our applications, for example, that might mean mailing costs, costs to have the hearing examiner hear a conditional use permit, legal ad fees, and then there are soft costs like staff time that have increased over time, of course. So as we considered how to do an update to the fee schedule, we started by sort of setting our priorities for that update. We wanted to organize the fee structure based on the application review type, because that review type is based on sort of a mix of fixed and soft costs associated with each of those different levels of review. And then for building permits, standardize those on construction values. The goal was to fully recover hard or fixed costs, and then recover sort of a conservative estimate of associated staff time along with that. And then lastly, we wanted to make sure that we stayed competitive in a regional context. We wanted to stay with fees that were comparable with regional jurisdictions, East Wenatchee, Leavenworth, and Chelan County. So as we looked at specific fee changes across the planning division, building division, and the public works department, it wasn't, based on sort of the priorities and approach that we talked about, it wasn't that we were going to propose making a 50% increase across all application fees. We took a close look at each application type and made specific changes based on the costs associated with those. So I provided kind of an overview here and some examples of how fees were modified for different applications, but we can answer, if anyone has any specific questions about any particular application type, we can do that too. There were no changes to fees for several administrative application types. For example, boundary line adjustments and outdoor mobile vendors, which are our food trucks. We eliminated fees for some applications that are no longer used or consolidated them with other similar application types. We reduced fees based on a review of associated staff time for some programs. So plan development amendments, which we don't see for residential applications any longer, And then we created a flat fee for short subdivisions, which is our most common sort of subdivision application that we see. And then there were fee increases for our more complex application types. Again, based on sort of a review of the associated hard costs and staff time. Probably the most significant fee increases for the planning division applications were for what we call our type 3 applications. That's anything that has to go to the hearing examiner or requires a public hearing. At the time, probably in 2014, that we had created those fees, I think the hearing examiner costs were maybe in the $300 to $400 amount, and we now pay $800 per hearing. So we were losing money on every application that we took in. And then we increased fees as well for legislative reviews based on increases in staff time. The other significant change for the planning division is an update to the fees associated with our building permit applications. Right now, we charge, the planning division specifically charges a flat $150 fee for any building permit application, or commercial building permit application. That really doesn't reflect staff time associated with the review, especially of larger projects. So we created sort of a tiering system. So for projects at the lowest valuation between 0 and 200,000, that flat fee will actually be reduced. It will go down to $100. Up to $500,000, that flat fee will be $300, which covers, depending on the planning staff reviewing, 4 to 5 hours of staff time. And then for projects valued at $500,000 or greater, it will be the fee will be 15% of the building permit review fee, with a cap at $2,000. And so that also creates some parity with the way the building division and the public works division do their building permit fees as well. So an example of a project that would max out that $2,000 fee would have been the YMCA. We did charge them only $150, but I can tell you I spent a lot longer than 2 hours on that project. $2,000 would cover closer to 25 hours of staff time, which is conservative but realistic for the amount of time we spend in review and on inspections. So I think that's it for planning. Chris?
Good evening. Again, I'm Chris with the building department. So in our changes, when we were looking at this, the actual permit fees for a building permit were not changed. We just clarified some items in how the value was done for the building permit, because there's a given ICC table, which is International Code Council, which is what we adopted. That's where we get our values from. And it was kind of antiquated. There was a bunch of percentages, and then there was a bunch of pieces that we used as a policy to get to those dollar amounts. So this way, I more summarized it and gave it fixed percentage marks on how to get the value off of the ICC table. So the actual permit fee table did not change, just the value slightly changed. We did add a piece into it that when our new application system that we're gonna be having, it does also allow the architect or engineer to declare the value instead of just using purely the table, because sometimes they are different. And then also, we did a fixed value for our pre-permitted ADUs that we already do, to fix those costs so that it's easier to, as we try to encourage the public to use them, that it's just a fixed fee. You can use any one of them, it's all basically the same cost. It doesn't matter which one you use, because they're already done. The city actually owns them to give away. I did do some fee increases on some of our minor permits, like just a basic plumbing permit, basic mechanical permit. They were slightly undervalued. They were around $50. So, and with staff time, permitting, inspection, et cetera, we raised them to $100 just to basically cover the time for the inspections and that. We did add another fee not a fee, we added a section at the bottom, because right now the city of Wenatchee is exempt from all building permit fees. but unless it's approved by the finance director. And there's some longer background to that we can get into longer, but it's in case there's matching money that may be needed on some grants or different things that we could actually then issue a building permit for a grant. So that's up to the finance director if we're going to be using any building permit fees.
And if I could, Chris, Glenn DeVries, Community Development
Sure.
Director, it also gives us some abilities if we're sending out plans on a complex project for the city, and we're having to pay a consultant to do that review, in coordination with the finance director, we can be not be out those fees for something like that. So working with the finance director, we can have those discussions. So that's the intent.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. And now also one other, I would say, minor change that I also did is on temporary certificates of occupancies. We did have a fee in there for $100. In the last 3+ years, it seems like every commercial building permit has a temporary certificate of occupancy, and they take a lot of time for us to manage them, to issue them, and to monitor them. So I did a graduated scales on that, so that values up to, I think it's 5 million. They're $300 to get a TCO, so you have to apply for it. 5 million to 10 million is $500, and above 10 million is $750. And this was done just because we have to actually issue a new permit, and then we monitor these, and a lot of times they'll last for 3 to 4 months. So we have these open permits. So we just wanted to cover some costs on that. This was the intent. On the fire side of that, some fees were increased and some were decreased. The adopted fire fees that we had in there, the fees were kind of random. They varied all over the place. So again, we just fixed everything at $100, just at that same minimum fee that we already did. It's the same people doing it. And then I also then eliminated the operational permits that they could be brought back at any time. We do not issue operational permits, never have. We just had the opportunity, but at this time, just to remove that out of the fee schedule since we don't do them. And that's what I have for building and fire. Any questions? No? I'll turn it over to Emma.
Hello, again. Emma Honeycutt, Assistant City Engineer. I manage the Development Review Group for engineering review for development permits. And Glenn offered us the opportunity to jump on this fee update and take a look at the permit fees that we know are the most out of line with practices and recovering our actual costs in the Public Works table. A more extensive fee review of the Public Works permit fees is gonna come next summer as we roll out our new municipal stormwater permit, because that will have an impact on stormwater review fees, and it'll be an opportunity for us to take a closer, more robust look. This is primarily to bring kind of the biggest outliers into alignment. So for our fee increases, 3 permit types were raised to reflect actual costs to the city. That's the engineering review of a building permit, which was, we went from $40 to $100 there to reflect our billable rates and intake, processing, and then issuing the permit. The second permit fee that increased was a street vacation permit. That permit went from $300 to $1,000, which is still fairly conservative. The workflow associated with the street vacation involves getting legal involved, multiple engineering reviews, and quite a bit of internal coordination to ensure that maintenance or any of our groups don't need that right away for some reason. And so we brought that a little bit closer into alignment with what our actual costs are. And the third permit that was raised was off-site consultant technical review, which is, we don't have in-house, we don't have a structural engineer or a geotechnical engineer in the engineering department. And so if we have a building permit that requires that kind of review, we'll ship that out to a consultant for review, kind of what Glenn was alluding to as well. The second main update that we did was to update the street cut fee. There's a formula for how we calculate what the permit fee is if someone cuts into our street for a utility project to hook up to our sewer or to do frontage improvements. And since the fee tables were updated last in 2009, we have spent the past couple of years developing a really robust pavement management plan and a pavement management policy. And so whereas the fees for street cuts used to be based on just the age of the pavement and that's it, the new formula reflects what our actual pavement management policy outlines as a framework for what pavement restoration will be. And then the other major update that we did was we included a couple more inspection fees for right-of-way sidewalk inspection. There used to be just one right-of-way sidewalk inspection, that was it. It didn't account for things like curb ramps and driveways, which are a little bit more intense and take some back and forth with both the contractor and engineers in-house. And so those were just added on, went from $50 to $100, and then we added just separate inspections on so that we could put the right fee onto the right project and not guess. And then the last update was, as Ruth mentioned, they got rid of sidewalk cafes from the planning table and we're putting them into the public works table because it's a public works permit. That is what we have.
And just briefly, if I could, Mayor, I think I'm just really proud of staff on this project. They did a really good job, just really caring that they don't create a barrier to development, to more housing, but taking a good, honest look, also involving Antonio, our permit center supervisor, on what our costs and amount of time we do on projects, and they look seriously at that. So look at recovering, as Ruth mentioned, fixed and soft costs, but remaining competitive. And we did have this discussion with the finance group on how we did that analysis to be competitive. We don't want to have the highest fees in the valley, and we want this to be a place where people want to come and do development and increase housing. And so I think staff did a great job for that. And, did staff have anything additional?
Nope, happy to answer questions.
I was just thinking Ruth and Chris and Emma, boy, what a lot of work. But we can't charge more than what it costs us. And if you leaned anywhere, I'm sure you leaned back to what was best for us. The ADUs are kind of cool to me, and I know we're working on one more design because we have some stuff with the ADUs, but I'm not in your guys' field, right? So it's kind of like, well, if you already did the permit on one ADU and all we're doing is throwing it out and they have to abide by it, then we get those fees we don't charge for. So thanks for doing the work. When was the last, and I probably missed it, it's probably in there somewhere. When's the last time we updated some of these fees? Was that mentioned?
2014 for community development.
Okay, I was curious.
2009 for public works.
2000, okay.
Yep.
And building has, often about every 2 years, has had very minor changes that would come in for something. But
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Other questions for him?
This update does not include a cost of living adjustment. Any future changes would come back to the same
Correct.
process we're using tonight.
I think this was a very nice job done and it needed to be done. And thank you for that. So with that, I'll make a motion for city council to adopt ordinance number 2026-15, amending sections 1.99.010, section 1.99.020, section 199.040, and section 1.99.050 of the Wenatchee City Code relating to fees for the Community Development and Public Works Department.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harold and second by Councilmember Miller for City Council to adopt ordinance number 2026-15, amending sections 1.99.010, 1.99.020, 1.99.040, and 1.99.050 of the Wenatchee City Code relating to fees of the Community Development and Public Works Department. Any other discussion or comments?
A legal question, effective date from publishing or?
Yeah, it's effective date from publishing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I will recuse myself on this next item.
Got it? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Aaron Kelly, Deputy Public Works Director, Operations. I'm here tonight with another long motion request, so I'm sorry for that. It's the First Amendment to the Third Amended and Restated Management Agreement between the City of Wenatchee and the Coast Wenatchee LLC. As you know, the Wenatchee Convention Center is owned by the City of Wenatchee and is operated by the Coast Wenatchee LLC through a management agreement. The current agreement, which is the Third Amended and Restated Management Agreement, was signed in 2023, which extended the agreement and also put conditions on future extensions. The conditions consist of capital being spent on renovations to the Coast Hotel. Last fall, we met with the Coast Wenatchee team and discussed the next steps and their concerns about timing of construction, as the Convention Center expansion project had a few delays since the original management agreement was signed back in 23. The conversation, along with several other discussions, has led to the proposal before you tonight. This amendment adjusts the deadlines for the renovations to the hotel, pushing the first deadline out 1 year. The amendment also allows for more of a phased approach with 3 phases or levels of capital spend on the hotel, where each level of spending allows for the additional extension of the management agreement. The slide in front of you is a timeline showing the comparison with the current agreement and the proposed agreement. The top portion of the current agreement in blue shows that the spend would all need to be happening before the end of this year. The next, where it says April 2024 and December 2025, that's basically the time frame of the expansion project. The little blocks on either end are the little bit of delays between signing the agreement in 23 and when we actually started the project, and then when we finished. It still kind of continues on, as we haven't necessarily finalized the project to 100% yet, but that's what that's indicating. The proposed First Amendment in green down below kind of shows us the phases, where whether or not the spend between $2 million by 2027 would then extend the contract to 2031. Phase 2, $3 million at minimum, would extend it to 2033, and then phase 3 of spending a total of $5 million or more would then end up allowing the contract to go to 2037. At any time during the agreement, if they spend that threshold or that phase, then they would actually get that next extension. So if whether or not, instead of spending $3 million before 2031, if they had spent the whole $5 million, they would get the extension all the way to 2037. All 3 extensions would also need to be exercised to allow for a future renewal of the management agreement. And then also for a financial impact, one of the things that we addressed through this was, because we're actually delaying that first commitment to 2027, we made sure that we were still collecting the commission based off of the revenue from the convention center that the city gets. It starts in the first part of 2027, so we kept it the same. With that, I'd also like to be able to have Doug Rigoni, the West Coast Hospitality CEO, come up and share a few words. Doug?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, City staff, for all that you've done to help with this amendment. Appreciate it greatly. I would say that Frida would be here, and unfortunately she couldn't be here, but she's watching from above all of the proceedings. I've been texting with her in the back, and she's excited for this moment as we are. Exactly. Hello, Frida. She's laughing right now. But she is excited for this moment, as we are as well. Next, I want to also offer my appreciation for the renovation, for your approval of the renovation that was completed last November with the grand opening in December. What a transformative project, and again, city staff, it was just really amazing what got accomplished. Now, Since it got done, goodness, what a difference in revenue. We're up because of that and because of the teams. You know some of the members of the team closely. But revenues are up 28% this year already. And next year, they're up 9.7% already. And then in 2028, they're up. I mean, it's just going. We've been involved with the convention center since I think 1999, but we don't sit on our laurels, right? We're always looking for ways to increase sales, increase service, take care of our employees. That's really important to us. And the customers are responding. The customer surveys and the responses we're getting from our long-term relationships and our clients, it's really quite overwhelming. Not just of the service, but of the convention center itself. The versatility, the expansion, it's really answered many of their concerns and questions. And we appreciate the city staff and you allowing us to be a part of that expansion, that renovation, and offering our input to ensure that our clients' voices are heard. When I said we weren't sitting on our laurels, the team did, since just now, I mean, in the last few months, let's say the last year and a half, we rebranded the convention center. We have a new logo, updated. It's very professional. It looks great. It captures what's going on. We went live with a new website. And on this website, we used a group out of Prosser, very good, very astute. This is a highly productive website. This is the phone version of it. And one of the things I wanted to highlight on this website is it's almost like it's its own, tourism site. I encourage you to go here because you can find out so much of what is going on in Wenatchee and the Valley just by going on the site. We've got links to various other sites, travel, tourism, small businesses, and the like. The other thing I wanted to highlight for you is on this site, we list a significant number of hotels. And you can just see all the hotels that are listed. And this isn't just about our hotel, this is about the convention center. And so we want our customers that come to the convention center to have options on where they're going to stay. Because some want to stay here, some want to do this, some want to do that. So I just mentioned some of those highlights. You may already know all that, but we've been around for a long time. We don't sit on our laurels. We're constantly trying to improve and make it better. From the hotel renovation perspective, our focus is first the curb appeal along Wenatchee Avenue. We've got landscaping, we've got parking lot work. We want that entrance. We're gonna increase the look and the feel of that entrance. We also are focusing on reopening the restaurant. We need to reactivate that space. It's a full-service hotel, and we know that that's what our customers want. After they meet and they have their trade show or their meetings, they like to go up and have, a bite to eat or have a cocktail and relax or do sales calls. We also then are focusing on our guest rooms. So that's very important. That's the one part, a tired part of the hotel is the guest rooms. We've already done the lobby. We've already done the corridors. They're ready to go. So we've made improvements, but these are, those are the three things really that our focus is. That's my little quick spiel. We appreciate you considering this, and we're, fully committed, as ever.
Doug, it's kind of fun to work with you. I know we met a few times, and it's great to finally come together, and it's definitely going to be, I think it's definitely positive, some things you already done, but to continue this is important. We're not in the business to manage a convention center, so the more sales that you see and promote, the more revenue we get back. So thank you for continuing, and I know, seriously, a shout out to both of you and Aaron of working probably weekly, to get this to come together and come back. So thanks for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
And if you're spending the night, I know a hotel you might want to stay at. But I love the idea, like, hey, it's all the hotels. It's like, hey, if we all in this together and we all win, right?
We all win.
And I think that's I think that's a great thing about it.
Compression in the market is good for everybody.
Yeah. Now you might have a few more questions, so you can't walk away yet.
Okay.
I don't know. Any other questions for Doug while he's up here?
No, but I do want to see a restaurant up there.
Me too.
Yeah.
Been waiting for that, and
Yeah, me too.
it's nice to get a nice view of our city when you're up there.
Yep, sure is. Yep.
This is more of a general knowledge question, but when you decide you want to remodel, do you do it by half of a floor, or do you, is there?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one thing I left off is that we've engaged the designer, Marianne Graziano, with M7, and Marianne, you probably know, was one of the initial designers on the convention center design. And they kept her design, and you see it. And so she moved to started her own firm in Spokane, and she's got a great eye for design. So we'll work with Marianne. We typically will do it floor by floor, go floor, then down and down, and then you just do a rotational thing. 1 floor and 2 floors, you have a buffer. I've done hundreds of millions of dollars of renovations at hotels. It's a good question.
Super excited. It's a special space, whether it's the rooftop restaurant or even the hotel itself being downtown. And it's really exciting to hear that it will be, getting a bunch of TLC to, encourage people to come stay. Really shout out to Frida as well. She sit on the TPA board with her, and she's always, just like you said, it's not just about your hotel. She's really rallying everyone to get excited about, all of our tourism and everything. But yeah, so really excited to see this happen.
Thank you.
No one has anything else, Your Honor. I'll move for City Council to approve the First Amendment to the Third Amended and Restated Management Agreement between the City of Wenatchee and the Coast Wenatchee LLC and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Rosenstein and a second by Councilmember Hornby for City Council to approve the First Amendment of the Third Amended and Restated Management Agreement between the City of Wenatchee and the Coast Wenatchee Limited Liability Corporation and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'll recuse myself from the next motion.
Oh, and we got to make sure on the last motion, you remember, Councilmember Harold recused herself. Got it. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Hornby? And Jake?
Good evening, council. Jake Lewing, city engineer, just here presenting on behalf of some staff, just in recognition that this was item number L. So yeah, I'm bringing here for council to consider to amend the project budget and award the construction contract for the Pybus South Parking Lot Phase 1 to our lowest responsive bidder and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents. Just a quick little background. This originally came to council back in 2022 with the creation of this project. It was prior to moving ahead with phase 1 and setting the current budget. It came to council here this past February to evaluate the options. I did want to address or just provide some information from an earlier comment about the grading. This is the first phase of kind of the full concept. There's multiple alternatives evaluated for the development of this whole lot. Ultimately, the option to grade it at basically from the sidewalk along Worthen back would maximize the parking and eliminates the need for any walls. So it, in the ultimate configuration, it does reduce some costs. Don't have to bring in import material behind those walls. Simplifies some of the stormwater system. And so with this first phase, it is actually performing the grading for the full build out, which that way it will maximize the amount of parking stalls on all 3 lots there together. So just want to provide that. That was one of the there was other alternatives that were considered for this, but that was the preferred selected at the time when we kind of started this. And so again, yeah, we put this out to bid. We had 7 bids come back. I guess I should also mention there was a $660 something change grant in conjunction with PIBUS to acquire and install 6 electric chargers, which is really the main impetus of this first phase. And so the first phase, again, we'll grade the whole lot down, we'll pave the 6 stalls and install those fast chargers there at PIBUS for the public use. So 7 bids were received. The lowest bid came in at $641,672. And we are, as part of this, to award that construct, we are requesting a $37,000 budget amendment through REIT to complete this. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about it.
Glad we're getting going on.
That's great. And it did come in under the engineer's estimate, right?
Yes, yeah, it did come in under engineer's estimate. You know, we, by the time we got to actually put it out and getting all the electrical component costs, we were a little bit higher than the original estimate we put together back in February. And so, and actually this budget then it does reflect sort of what's been budgeted for it. It's just catching up with the.
Do we have an agreement with the providers of the EV chargers for future revenue? Or is that
Yeah, I
something
might
that comes once?
turn to Tom to help me out with the agreement with.
Yeah, so my understanding is we purchased these EV chargers off the state contract through Department of Enterprise Services. With that, there is a service contract with that. I don't know the details, but we could get back to you on what that looks like. So,
Thank you.
and revenue sharing is, that's a forthcoming agreement with PIBUS on that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Entertain a motion.
I'll move for city council to amend the project budget and award the construction contract for the Pybus South parking lot improvements, city project number 2317 to the lowest responsive bidder, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Rojan Stan and second by Councilmember Harold for city council to amend the project budget and award the construction contract for the Pybus South parking lot improvements, city project number 2317 to the lowest responsible bidder, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents. Any other discussion or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I did want to mention this likely will start next month and be run about 5 weeks unless there's any delays for procurement, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up of.
Was that September 14th or something?
Yeah, mid-September. We still need to, now that you guys have authorized this, we'll work with the contractor to get the contract back and set a date and keep you informed. Thank you.
Well, you'd think you'd go to the mayor's report next, but what we noticed was if you go to your consent items, it lists city project number 1810, but in our motion, we didn't have it in there. So, city attorney, can you help me with this? What can I do?
So there's, the city follows Robert's Rules of Order. There are 2 ways we can do it. We can do a motion to reconsider. If that motion passes, then the original motion's put back on the floor, and then we can insert the language that was missing. Or we can do a motion to amend the prior motion, previously adopted motion, and then that motion has to be approved by 2/3 of the city council. I'm hoping you picked the latter one because that's what I drafted while we were sitting there. So I'm gonna hand up 2 documents. One is gonna have the proposed motion, and then one is gonna have the motion again for you, Mayor, so you don't have to pass papers back and forth.
Who made the original?
It's long because it's the consent. That's what you need to give to the person that is going to make the motion.
Okay. But again, it's sitting there. We just forgot to put it in our action request.
Correct, and I'm assuming that's why Mr. Hoover is still here.
Okay.
Because the item that was excluded and inadvertently from the consent motion is an item that he has intimate details about, so.
Well, maybe that's good. Make them stay long. Maybe we should do this more often.
Well, on that note too, I do want to Yeah, go ahead, do your motion first.
These two are the same?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Your Honor, I would move to amend the motion previously adopted regarding approving the agenda, vouchers, and minutes from previous meetings to authorize the mayor to sign the water fire hydrant easement from Jose and Irene Zaldivar for city project number 2104, Pershing Street Stormwater Retrofit Project, and to approve resolution number 2026-20, appointing Christopher Widener as a voting member to the Planning Commission. And this amendment is by inserting the language approving city project number 1810, wastewater treatment plant digester for improvements for final project acceptance.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Atkinson and second by Councilmember Rosenstein to amend the motion previously adopted regarding the city council to approve the agenda, vouchers, and minutes from previous meeting to authorize the mayor to sign the water fire hydrant easement from Jose and Irene Zaldivar for city project number 2104, Pershing Street, stormwater retrofit project, and to approve the resolution number 2026-20 to appointing Christopher Widener as a voting member to the Planning Commission by inserting the language approving city project number 1810 wastewater treatment plant digester for improvements for final project acceptance. Any other discussion or comments?
I just have one quick comment. I do want to acknowledge Jeremy Hoover on this. If you notice, the project number starts with the 18. That project has been underway for a long time. So congratulations to Jeremy for putting a bow on this.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Myra's still with us. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, thanks for catching that, Danielle.
No, that was.
Or Jeremy, or whoever had to sit here the whole time. What directors have anything for mayor's report? Chief, oh, I'm not gonna call you chief anymore. Future city administrator.
Make up a title, sir. I'm still the chief for a little bit.
Okay.
And one of the last acts here, we worked our strategic plan process all through 25, well into 26. Finally published the other day as one of the last things I'll be doing as the chief of police. We have sent it out to see about getting it printed like we did last time, where we're in a limited number of printed copies. When they appear, they will be provided to each of you so you can see the intent of where I guess I'm sending the department floating off to through 2030, for Chief Johnson to pick up and run with our staff.
It's the people that'll carry that forward.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chief.
Council members?
I showed up to the East Wenatchee Council meeting to show my support for Chief Rick, and I showed up to Public Safety Committee. That's all I have.
Great. Councilmember Miller?
Nothing.
Our next legislative priorities meeting's on September 9th.
I like getting them though.
That's all I do these days.
Down on the side, you guys have anything?
Went to WDA meeting, Link meeting, toured the Majestic today, and public service.
Okay, thanks for saying that with enthusiasm.
7:30.
Councilmember Atkinson?
Public Services meeting on Tuesday, and we have our first junior city council meeting next Thursday, 6 o'clock here. You all are certainly invited.
All right, how about a motion to adjourn?
I have moved to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Second.
First and second, Councilmember Miller, I think, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.